Hi, what's up, good people? Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, the African Tigress. Greetings from the coast of Kenya. Greetings from Mombasa County. So today I'm joined with an amazing gentleman here who has a very interesting story to tell us. The reason why he relocated to Kenya and his experience so far in Kenya. So we can start maybe by him introducing yourself.
Okay, I'm Amen Raah. From Los Angeles, California, born and raised, and I came to Kenya in 1996, December, and I've basically been in Africa ever since. I never went back to the U.S.
So you've been in Kenya for more than 20 years?
I've been in Kenya more than for 22 years this December. And I've loved it all 22 years. I don't think that I can consider any other place my home but this one.
So have you ever gone back even once to maybe see your friends, family?
I never went back. Actually, in 2000, I was to go back, and I had prepared myself to go back, and then I called home to see what was going on, and talked to my cousin, and I was like, okay, what's everybody doing? And he was replying to me, nothing, everybody's the same, there's nothing new. And then I was like, why am I going to spend $1,900 to go back and I'm going to do nothing, sit in so-and-so's living room, watch soap operas all day? So I decided to use the money to travel through 6 African countries, from Nairobi to Johannesburg. I flew to Johannesburg, then I came back, and then I went 2 more times, going back with Kenyans by road. And I wouldn't have traded that experience for anything in the world. If I had it all over to do again, I would not go to the U.S. I would definitely use that money to travel. Africa is a very big continent.
So 1996. Was that your very, very first time in Kenya?
Very first time coming to Kenya. I didn't know what to expect. I was coming on a mission for 3 months, and I was going to go explore the whole country and then decide if that's where I wanted to live. And at the end of the 3 months was to go back, but I had already started teaching martial arts, and I had students, and I didn't know how much they were into the martial art. So when I announced that I was going to be traveling, they really made me feel bad they looked so sad. And then I decided I would stay another year to train the students to make black belt so that my art could continue in Kenya. And by the time the other year had finished, I was hooked. I was acclimated into the Kenyan life. Those students that I was hoping to get to black belt, the numbers quadrupled. So I had them coming up to black belt, and then I had new students that came in that also wanted to go to black belt, and then they were all looking at me as the one the master that was going to be teaching them. And it was just nowhere. By the time a year had passed, I was too much into the system. And when I compared that to what was going on in the U.S., it was like I was in a better position. Because at that time, modern martial arts was not in the country until I introduced it. And then you can introduce something, but it can die. You had to continue to expand it. And I was just amazed at how much expansion it could go. I mean, how far it's still growing to this day, 21 years later. I'm still amazed at the growth. And you just can't turn around and go back and leave it like that. So it just made me, I ended up staying.
That's quite impressive. I can't believe someone can just go to a country to visit, and on their first visit, they just decide to remain there.
Yeah, you see, I was planning on coming to Kenya 10 years before. It took me 10 years to actually make the trip. And I became black conscious, and that was how I got started with Kenya. And then interested in Kenya because back then in 1986 and 87, there was only encyclopedias. There was no internet, there was no Google, you couldn't know. And I was going through the encyclopedia reading about African cities and countries, and I saw Lagos, and they showed that Lagos was really too crowded. They showed South Africa, but it was under apartheid at that time. And then I don't know, I came across this city in the sun, and I'm like, what's this? And then I started reading about Kenya, that they spoke English, and it was really nice. And I had to, I just sat there at my desk and decided, okay, Kenya is the country that I'm going to adopt.
Wow.
And so from there, I just went around, and I was doing a cross training with another martial art club. And so we were, from my club, we were here, and then they were opposite. And so they said, okay, everybody introduce yourself. So everybody started introducing yourself, and then one guy came up, I'm from Kenya. And I was like, what? You're from Kenya? We have to be friends. And when I befriended him, of course, he introduced me to other Kenyans, and then he introduced me to the mother of my children later. She became the mother of my children. And there was a time when I had almost more Kenyan friends than I did American friends, and I was living in America. So, I was really ready to go, but a lot of the, basic things that were happening in the U.S. I had my martial arts school in the U.S., and then it took a lot of my time, because you're not just teaching, you're managing. And I finally was able to break away from that to take the trip. And then 2 weeks after I left my school to go to Kenya, the people that I left in charge wrecked the school, and then it was really like nothing for me to go back to from that point. So that's another thing that really kept making me stay.
So when you came to Kenya, did you come directly to Mombasa, or were you staying in Nairobi before you moved to Mombasa? Or you already figured out that you want to come to Mombasa?
Well, my Kenyan lady, her parents lived on a farm in Kiserian. So Kiserian was my first experience, and they lived on a farm. And so I just woke up every day and saw the chickens, and I was used to camping, and so I was like, okay, I had not been to Nairobi City. And then after about a week, her mom sent me to the town to buy some drugs for her. And she gave me a very good direction on how to get to town, what to do, where to go, and I followed it. And when the bus rolled into Nairobi City, I'm like, what? This is a completely different thing, And I quickly found people there that were interested in the martial arts. And, one thing led to another. When they saw me do the techniques, they really loved the techniques. They never seen anything like modern martial art techniques. So that brought students, and then they would tell me, you can go here, I know a place here. And it just expanded like that. People started hearing about this black American that was doing this martial art. It was really nice. And I would have a class of students, and then I would have like a long class of visitors just coming to see what this was about. And once I realized that there was money to be made, especially in Nairobi, I came to realize that there was more to Kenya than just the rural area.
How long did you stay in Nairobi before you moved to Mombasa?
Well, funny thing is that the martial art, like I was saying, it grew so quickly and it expanded. So I had one student, he didn't even make black belt, he was a purple belt, level 2 student. And he was transferred to Mombasa. And so he went to the gym in his area and trained by himself inside the social hall. So somebody saw him, what is that you're doing? Then he started showing them what he knew. Then the next thing you know, he was teaching. Mm-hmm. So I get this call from this guy, I didn't even know him. And I have students, okay, you got students in Mombasa, yeah, okay, how many? 24. What? 24 students, and you're just a purple belt. Mm-hmm. So I drove down, and sure enough, it was true. And it expanded here in Mombasa like that. Then the same thing in Nakuru, same thing in Kisii, and we're still expanding to this day.
Okay. So, what do you miss most about the U.S.?
In the U.S.?
Yeah, what do you miss most?
The only thing I miss is the food.
The food?
Yeah, only thing I miss.
What do you mean by the food? Like good food?
I miss those hamburgers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the In-N-Out burgers. But now Burger King is here. You're telling me that there's a McDonald's? I don't believe it. But I'll go find out when I go there in October. Not that I like the fast food. It's just that was something that can connect me. Because the music, of course, is here. I can listen to any of my music, and what the TV shows are there on YouTube. You know, I'm watching movies, you know, TV shows I used to watch, like Good Times. In fact, I watch Good Times with my daughter. She likes it. These old TV shows, The Rifleman, Sea Hunt was another one. I'm just exhausting. I've been watching The Rifleman and Sea Hunt series for like 4 months. Every night or so, I watch an episode of it. So really, it's nothing I'm missing, except you know, burgers and chips. But you know, chips are here.
Chips are here.
Yeah. So, you know, I've had In-N-Out Burger, and I didn't go back twice and 3 and 4 times. You know, I just tasted it and I relived it, and then you know, that's it. But so really, overall, there's nothing that I really miss compared to what this country has given me. It's nothing I could possibly miss in the U.S.
Like what one thing? Okay, like what one moment did you realize that you are never going back to America? At what point or at what moment did you realize that you are never going back to the U.S.?
Okay, well, I can think of a couple of times, but I was lucky to have some really nice girlfriends. And one night we was together, and I just was like looking up at her and like, what? Why? How could I leave this? You know, compared to go back there? Because I had relationships in the United States, and they didn't really go well. I looked at all my friends and their relationships, and a lot of them, the majority of them failed. A lot of households, 70% of black households are run by black women. It doesn't just get like that. There has to be a breakdown in the family, and that causes a lot of stress on the children as well, which happened to my children in the U.S. And then, you know, just look at that and you say, I have a woman here and I don't have to go through that. You know, these things are manifested because of the oppression of blacks in the United States. This is my feelings behind it. And you know, when you don't have that, it's easier to have a meaningful relationship that has support. You know? So I broke up with my wife, and she left, and I was living in the house by myself, and my phone never rang. And she come from a big family, so not one of them said, called and said what happened, what's your side of the story. They just took her and let her go. So 4 months later, she wanted to come back to me, and I was like, I'm too through. And at that time, I wasn't even black conscious, you know. But when I met my Kenyan lady, you see, she had family. They had, you know, they had tradition, they had culture, and I loved it. I wanted to be a part of that. So I strived to make sure I had that when I came to Kenya, and I'm happy to have that.
So what has been your greatest challenge moving to Kenya? What challenge have you faced most?
Challenge in Kenya?
Yeah.
Compared to the United States, living in the United States, for me, the challenges are minimal. Simply because the people are helpful. I don't have, like in the U.S., I can have someone, let's say another black belt, and I have a martial arts school and he has a martial arts school. And my martial arts school is doing better than his martial arts school. He can just turn around and not talk to me. He can just turn around and say bad things about me or try to diminish my school so his school can rise. You see? And they can even get violent in the United States. You know, people can shoot you, people can attack you. I was attacked by my own peers because envy and jealousy. Now they have that here in Kenya. I'm growing up, and even some of my students have decided they wanted to go and do their own thing, and then they would attack me, say, "Oh, you know, Grandmaster is a dictator," or "Grandmaster took all the money." And these things are not true, but I can understand where they were coming from at that point. Now today, those same people, they understand better, and they give me the respect that I deserve. But at that time, they were young boys coming into manhood, having wives for the first time. They needed money, and then martial arts is martial arts. It's not an education in economics. So they see me collect money, and then they would think like that money is supposed to be my money, you see. But they didn't realize how much hard work I put into it. Today they now see that they have to put in the hard work, and that's how it happened. For me, I put a lot of hard work, building up my martial art clubs, and you have to have an understanding of business in order to do that. This is what they're learning. Before they thought it was magic, like it's raw and it's not that good. So, but they never stabbed me in the back or really, did things like what guys would do in the United States. America can be very dangerous and ruthless, as any first world country can be. And Kenyans are not like that. So even in their worst days, they're still mild compared to things that can happen to you in the U.S.
So you've been in Kenya for over 20 years. So can you speak some Swahili?
Mimi sema Kiswahili kidogo.
Kidogo.
Everybody laughs when I use that sentence, but I can speak Swahili. I used to speak Swahili really well when I first came.
Then what happened?
You see, people that come around me know that I'm from America, so they want to practice their English.
Oh.
So even my children, they go to mommy, then they come in the bed with daddy, can you get me this and that? And I'm like, you can't really know.
So they speak English to
when
you,
when
they go to their mother, they speak Swahili.
Yeah, so somewhere in there while I was doing all those things in Nairobi, I got into a position where nobody spoke Swahili to me, everybody spoke English. And I was even learning Swahili, I was even learning to teach martial arts in Swahili, which I can do,
Oh.
Teke, guru, geza and guru, these kind of things. And then it just, there was just a period of time where it went away. And then when I tried to use it, I had forgotten. So, that, and then, Nairobi, Kenyan Swahili is different than Tanzanian Swahili.
Yeah.
Because I remember the practicing, and they were telling me, for the take the Nissan, it was 20 shillings. So it was like Shirini. And I was like, I couldn't pronounce Shirini to save my life. And I kept trying and getting it right. So finally I got Shirini right. So I went to board the Nissan and I asked the conductor, how much is it? And he told me, blue. What? He threw me off. I was like, what's this? I said, is that Shirini? Yeah, Shirini, blue. I was like, oh.
Blue, bow. Bow.
Yeah, bow, yeah.
That's not Swahili.
Imagine. So you see now that's how you got when I'm learning. I try to use the regular Swahili, then I go there and say, okay, how much is that one? Then the guy goes like this, are you gonna punch me? He said, oh, what's that? Oh, it's 10 bob. Oh. So
Fingers.
Yeah. So that always, when I started to really try hard to learn it, I come back to those kind of things that happen to me, and I feel like I'm insecure.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to anybody who would love to relocate, maybe to Kenya to be specific, since you've been in Kenya?
For black people, it's becoming necessary to come to modern Africa. It's becoming almost like a survival opportunity. And I definitely, anybody that's African American coming, now you can't come here with a weird attitude, and you can't come here and be disrespectful. But if you come here with the understanding that there are opportunities, and that it's a new life, and that you want to start over, and you're family orientated, you will be okay. People, they don't really understand the exchange rate difference, and these are things that the more they learn about Kenya and Africa in general, the more they see that it's becoming a great opportunity for African Americans to come. So white people, they're coming.
Do you think it's easy to integrate into the community or into the society? Like, how long does it take for someone to integrate into the community?
They can learn. Kenya is no different than, and if you're living in the city, that's what I'm saying. Modern Africa in the city, and it's not a problem at all, because most people in the city speak English. And if you talk slow enough, they can understand you directly. As long as you don't start speaking really fast, and then understand that you're in a different culture. You go down there and people are bumping into you, and you're like, this place is terrible. People are bumping into me. And you ain't been to India. You ain't been to China. Maybe you're not even been to New York, but people do bump into you. You come from a place in the U.S. where it's not that crowded, and you come into an area where it's crowded, and then people start doing certain things that are strange to you, and then you label that an African thing or a Kenyan thing, not to realize that that's the way it is in most parts of the world. So you have to come with the right mindset, and definitely, the weather is great. Definitely, the people are wonderful, and definitely there are opportunities that are available to you, especially in high growth areas. So that's what I say about that. They can come. They should come.
Are you ever going back to America?
Yeah, I just realized now I got to go back and get my Social Security money in less than 5 years. So yeah, I'll be going. I've been saying now I never go back, but now if I get my Social Security money, definitely, yeah, you'll see me on the plane over there.
So before, about some few minutes ago, you would never have.
I told you, never. I would never go. I never think about going back. What for? There's social media now, and I'm 61 and I can go online and go on video, and I'm computer literate completely, so I can literally walk down the street and call any one of my relatives and see what's going on. Now, I don't need to fly there now. It was different 10 years, 15 years ago, but today, 10 years ago, you'd have to fly if you wanted to get the clear understanding of what's happening. But I just met a black belt of mine, who I had not talked to in 23 years. We had not talked. He left the school, disappeared, and I got here and I looked on Facebook and I didn't find him. And then the other night he just called me. This is a week ago. Hello, who's this? And he's like, what? Where the hell you been? What's going on? Why are you not on Facebook? And he's like, oh, I was told that it was not good. And get your ass on Facebook. Okay. And then it's on Facebook. Now he's watching videos of me, I see you're doing great, he didn't know. You see? So
once you get your Social
I don't need to go
Security,
there.
You're never going back.
I don't need to go there to socialize, you see? Because social media is there to give me everything I know. I wasn't that close with my family when I was there. There was a time I didn't talk to my sister for 10 years. And
10 years.
Then she drove up in the car, and I was like, Nat, and she's like, yeah, what's up? Next thing you know, we was talking. And then, she drove off, and I was like, it's like we never even was apart, And I was feeling like I'm gonna wait till she called me. I'm the younger brother, and she's not the one to call the younger brother. So it was like, I'm waiting to see if my older sister will see if she care about me. And 10 years went by. She saw me. We talked. It was like we was just talking yesterday. So I don't need to go there. I can talk to them on social media, and that's enough.
Anything you'd love to add?
African. I have a YouTube channel. Amen Raah Amen Raah.
I'm going to put a link to the YouTube channel.
And I discuss about that. I wrote a book in 2005 called A Black Man's Guide to Visiting, Living, and Doing Business in Modern Africa. It's on Amazon books. You can also get a PDF copy from me. And I talked about that way back then before it became popular. Today, today there are groups that are talking about coming back to Africa. But long before that, I had saw the vision that Africa is the place that African Americans should take seriously as an alternative. Now, every black person is not going to come to Africa, but all I can say is that all my friends and the people that I contacted in America that have come, they all overstayed their visit. Every one of them. But there's even one that came here, been here 30 times, back and forth. All because I invited him to come one time. So Africans that are talking about going to the United States, they don't need to put down their country, and they really don't need to rise up the great things about America to get themselves to go. Look at the whole pros and cons, and for your sake, for your family and your future family's sake, keep a rational understanding about moving from one way or the other. Now, some people, they love America. They will come here, they will visit, and then they will go back home, and they believe that's their home. I'm different. I have always been unique in my understanding, and I have had good friends come here, see the place, see it. They tell me it's great, and then they overstay, and then they end up getting on the plane and going back. And I'm like, you know, I don't have that same mission. My family is here. I'm working hard to become a Kenyan citizen, and hopefully one day soon that can come about.
Sure, that's quite true. So it was nice hosting you.
Okay, nice to be on the show.
All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In case you have any questions, just write it in the comment section below. Subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Please subscribe.
Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Until next time, bye bye.